Hi everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to the San Mateo Public Library. My name is Adriana Valencia and this is Kitchen Science. And today I'm really excited to share with you some demonstrations with some devices or gadgets that you might not have at home. And then I'll go through some experiments that you might be able to do at home that are very safe for almost all ages. So to start us off, I want to explain what our episode is mostly about. And what I want to talk about today is electricity and currents. And so the first device that I want to show you is called a plasma globe. And you might have seen these on TV really, really big, where you touch them and you see like a purple light go through the glass and then to your hand, but you don't feel any shock. It's pretty much what it is. So I have a very mini one here at home. Whoops. You heard my other device go off. Let's put it down. And so if you see it, I've already turned it on. But if you've never seen one before, pretty much you see a pretty solid base. There's a rod coming up the middle, and then there's a big glass dome over it that's containing the rod. And inside of this glass dome is very limited air. What's actually inside of this dome is a vacuum. It's a partial vacuum. And so the rod is channeling energy, electricity, because I do have it connected to an outlet. And so inside of this rod is a mini Tesla coil, and pretty much what it's doing, it's moving the atoms so quickly that electrons are being pushed out. And so they're filling up the space inside of the glass dome. And when I touch the glass dome, those electrons are making a connection. And so in reality, what's happening is the electrons are connecting from the rod through this vacuum of air to my hand, going through me and to the ground. And so it's completing a circuit. Because when you think about electricity, there is a point A and then a point B, and it travels in a circle all the way around. If you're missing a point B, then that electricity has nowhere to go and it won't ever really come to an end. So you won't be able to turn on a light bulb, you won't be able to power something, and sometimes that can be really dangerous. For example, when there are power lines that are down and that they spark and sometimes they start a fire, that happens because the circuit didn't connect all the way, and so that energy needed somewhere to go, that electricity needed somewhere to go. And so the same thing happens with this plasma ball. So when I touch it, you see these lines produce, and it heightens the color. It means it's getting a stronger connection. And that's going to lead me into my next device, which is pretty cool. It's because I touched the metal parts. So this is an energy stick. And this is going to explain the currents. So I dropped it, so now it's being extra sensitive. Let's see if I can. There we go. Boop. It's also sensing the electricity from my plasma ball. So let me go ahead and turn that off. It's pretty strong. Okay, there we go. Alrighty, so here I have my energy stick, and there's a tape up the top and then a tape here at the bottom of metal. So when I touch one end and then I touch the other, it lights up and makes a sound because I'm completing the circuit. If I touch just one end, nothing happens. Nothing's lighting up because I haven't completed the circuit. So if I touch it, it'll go off. If I touch it with my cheek, it'll go off. If I touch it with my nose, it'll go off because it's completed the circuit. Now let's see if this will work nicely. When I turn on my plasma ball and I'm touching my plasma ball, I'm completing the circuit because this is producing so much electricity and electrons that the energy stick is detecting it, even if I'm holding it in my other hand, or even if I hold it closer, it's detecting all of those extra electrons. And then when I pull it away, it turns off and the circuit doesn't complete. So I thought that was pretty cool, and I wanted to share that with you. Let me go ahead and turn this off because it's just going to keep making my energy stick go off. And so this is something that I used during Family Science Night, I think last year, where people could hold hands in a great big circle and see if they could figure out who's the one that's causing the circuit not to be completed, because the moment you let go of somebody's hand, the circuit turns off because you're not completing the circuit. And so this is a cool way of finding out what are some other things that might conduct electricity. So if you think about it at home, what are some things that you think of that might conduct electricity? Do you think a spoon conducts electricity if it's metal? What about if it's plastic? What about a straw? Does a banana conduct electricity? So I'm gonna bring out some household things and see what we can figure out conducts electricity to complete the circuit with this energy stick. Alrighty, so I went ahead and got some items from my kitchen that we are going to test to see if they can run a current. So here I have a metal spoon, I have a plastic drinking straw, I have a wooden slotted spoon, and I have a lemon. Out of these 4 things, what do you think will be able to conduct electricity? Let's try using the plastic straw. So if I touch the plastic straw to this metal strip here on my energy stick, do you think it's gonna turn on or do you think it won't? And pretty much what we're asking is, does this straw conduct electricity? Let's find out. Nothing happened. So that means this straw, this plastic, does not conduct electricity. So we can put that in the no pile. Now, what about this metal spoon? Think about it. Do you think this metal spoon conducts electricity? Let's find out. It does. So metal is a really strong conduit for electricity. This is one of the reasons why we make sure that kids don't put any metal forks or spoons in outlets, because you could get hurt. Electricity runs through it very easily. All right, so let's put that spoon in our yes pile. Now here I have a wooden slotted spoon or spatula. Do you think this conducts electricity? So yes, it'll make my energy stick go off, or no? What do you think? Let's find out. Nothing's happening. What do you think that means? Exactly. So this wood does not conduct electricity. So that means it's not completing the circuit. So we'll put that in our no pile. Now, what about lemons? Do lemons conduct electricity? Let's find out. It does. So lemons do conduct electricity. And there's a couple different fruits and vegetables that actually conduct electricity. If you've ever gone to the library and played with our Makey Makeys, we will set them out with bananas, maybe some carrots, tomatoes, potatoes, bell peppers, a bunch of different things for you to test out to see what conducts electricity. Most citrus do, and that's why you'll see a lot of citrus-based battery science experiments, so how to build a battery out of using citrus fruits like lemons. So they do conduct electricity. So we'll go ahead and put that in our yes pile. All right, let me put my energy stick away. The next activity I wanted to share with you is static electricity. So when you think about when you're at home, what are some things that you've seen static electricity in? Have you seen them when your parents do the laundry, and maybe when you try to pull apart clothes like a sock from a sweater, you'll see a little charge of electricity? Or if you shuffle your feet on the carpet and then you poke someone, they'll get a little shock. That's static electricity. A really easy way to see static electricity from home is to use a balloon. So here I have my balloon. And so a really easy way to test some static electricity is to rub the balloon on your head if you have a lot of hair, and then see how it pulls your hair. This is all static electricity. And what's happening is those electrons are getting super active, and so they're just pulling towards the source. And that's why we see my hair getting lifted up. Another way that you can test it is rubbing a balloon on some wool socks or a sweater, and then seeing if you might be able to lift something like tissue paper. Let's see if I can lift this coffee filter. That's why we're on selfie mode, to make it a lot easier. see if it'll... Ooh, it almost did it. Let's try it one more time. It lifted it up on its own. So that means I created quite a bit of charge in rubbing the balloon to my hair. All right, so let's go ahead and put that balloon away. Let me fix my hair. And let's do one last science experiment. And I will go ahead and put my phone back on the tripod. All right, so my phone is back on the tripod. And the last science experiment I wanted to share with you doesn't really have anything to do with electricity, but it does use a balloon and a little hexagonal nut. So you might have this at home. And what we're going to be doing is creating a screaming balloon. So let me pause the camera while I inflate this clear balloon. All right, so I went ahead and inflated my balloon. And so what I did is I first dropped the hex nut and make sure it went to the bottom of my balloon. Then I inflated it to a good size. I didn't want to overinflate it because you don't want to pop your balloon. And you definitely want to make sure that that hex nut is at the bottom. So if you want little kids to do this, I would really encourage the adult inflate the balloon just in case so that they don't suck up that hex nut accidentally. And so what we're testing in the science experiment is sound and motion. And so if you look at the balloon, what are some things that you can observe? Is the balloon a square? No. What shape is it? It's a sphere. And so that means it's going to cause circular motion. So if you were to try to spin the hex nut inside of the balloon, is it going to go up and down? No, it's going to go in a circle. So let's go ahead and test that out. So go ahead and start spinning your hex nut. Do you hear that? You hear those vibrations? It almost sounds like it's screaming a little bit. Yeah, so pretty much what's happening is inside of the balloon, the nut is forced to stay in this spherical shape. So it's moving around in a circle. And it's moving around so quickly that it's being affected by centripetal force. Centripetal means that it's center seeking, so it's going towards itself. Centrifugal, with an F, is outward force. And so sometimes you might hear a centripetal or centrifugal force about roller coasters and other things. But this is definitely going to be center seeking, so it's centripetal force. And since the hex nut has 6 sides, so that means it has 6 flat sides and then 6 little points, those flat sides are what's causing the vibrations. Pretty much what's happening is those flat sides are hitting against the balloon and they're causing friction and vibration. And so it's actually the balloon screaming than the hex nut. So let's spin it again. And so if you're the one holding the balloon while that nut is spinning, you'll feel those vibrations pretty much throughout the whole balloon because it's such a thin material. And when it slows down, you can almost feel the way that it's breaking up because of those 6 sides spinning. So it's like almost like stop, go, stop, go, stop, go, but very, very quickly. And so this is a really fun and easy science experiment to do at home. You can try seeing how you can shake the balloon so that it doesn't make that scream noise and see how easy it is, because it's not, because it really wants to go in a circle. This is one of my favorite science experiments. All right, well, thank you so much for tuning into the San Mateo Public Library. Feel free to check the library's website as well as our social media accounts for any future updates and any upcoming events. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye.